Asking the question, what does this verse or this passage mean to me, may not be as helpful a question as you think it is. One of the things that I discover a lot when I'm teaching the Bible is that people often approach the Bible as if it is written specifically and directly to them. And I'm not entirely sure where that notion came from. I think it has a lot to do with different theological convictions that we have about the Bible and how it works. But ultimately, what that ends up doing is removing the power of the authors of the text from the Bible itself. And instead, it turns into this magic 8-ball that we can shake and ask a question, and it'll generate an answer for our specific problem. Instead, what we should be doing is removing ourselves from the text and taking us and our experiences and setting them aside, and instead asking the question, what does the author want to do with whatever it is that I'm reading in this moment? That requires careful reading, but it also requires broad reading, reading more than just a handful of verses, because a handful of verses are not going to give you enough information for you to understand what an author is doing in any one given part of the Bible. We need to understand that the Bible functions as a complete and whole story, and a story requires its parts for it to make any sort of sense. You wouldn't pick up a novel from the library and read only a couple of sentences and decide that you had arrived at something significant from that novel in only those 2 sentences. And the same thing is true of the Bible. You can't read just a couple of verses, ask, what does this mean to me, and then come out with any sort of helpful meaning or application for your own life. And if you do, you're probably going to end up missing what the author is actually trying to do with those verses in context. My recommendation, stop asking, what does this mean to me? Start asking, what is the author trying to say?